Hello. Are you able to see the screen? Hello. Yes, okay, fine. All right.
Let us choose.
Hello. Hello. Shall we start?
Hello?
Hello. Shall
Yes,
we
sir.
start? All right.
Yes, sir.
So today we'll able to see. Sorry for the delay. Actually, I'm in office call. That's the reason I got delay. Right. So today we'll see deployment. Okay. So what is the deployment, and what is the purpose of the deployment? What we can able to do in the deployment? Everything we can able to see. See, let's we see first what is the deployment. This is the most frequent activity for the WebLogic server administrator. So what we can able to do in the WebLogic server, in the deployment process, we are able to see. So every alternative day we can able to do the deployment, and this is the most frequent activity for the WebLogic server administrator. So let's we see what is the deployment actually. So what is the deployment actually? So deployment is nothing but it is a process by which a finished components. It is a process by which a finished component or application or module to installed in the other machine, in other word, WebLogic server, and those applications which are available to the client and client able to access in the distributed environment. Understood? Either it may be locally or remotely. Understood? Deployment is nothing but it is the process of by which you distribute the finished components or applications or modules, right, to the installed in the another machine called WebLogic server, which are available to the client and the client able to access either it may be locally or remotely. That is called deployment. So what are the deployment source files we are going to be deploying? Actually deployment unit files or deployment source unit files. We are going to be deploying the web applications where enterprise applications EAR and enterprise logins EJB and resource adapters WAR and web services J2WD. All these are the deployment sources actually. So let's see regularly which applications we are going to be deploying: WAR applications, ER applications, and JAR applications. These applications regularly we are going to be deploying into the WebLogic server. Let's we see what is a web application, what is a ER application, generally and what is the enterprise application and what are those directory structure. Let's be able to see. What is web application generally? See, a web application is nothing but it is a group of server-side resources. A web application is nothing but it is a group of server-side resources generally that can create the online interactive application. So that is the reason we can call it as a web application. So without web, you cannot able to connect those applications actually. So what are the, you don't bother about whatever we are discussing here. Just whenever you extract the WAR file, after that you will get all those details. Hello.
Hello?
Vijay, from your side, you just make it, mute. Whenever you'll get any doubt, you just ask me, okay? All right. So web application is nothing but what, it is a group of server-side resources, generally that can create the online interactive application. Example, any application which we can able to access through the web. What are the server-side resources? Generally, servlets and JSPs, static content, all those information which is available under the web applications generally. Web applications which are going to be packed into the .var file, right? Let's we see how sometimes what will happen. Developers, they may pack or they may not pack and they will send to us. At that condition, how you are going to be packing the applications, web applications, there is a question actually. So first you can check about that applications, whether those are prescribed in the according to the directory structure or not. Then after that you can able to pack into the .var file by using the jar utility. Then after that you can deploy those applications into the WebLogic console. See the interview question, how you can able to pack the web applications. Let's we see how you can able to pack. You just go to over there and I'm just logging to that application Linux. Right. I'm just setting the class path. See, next what I need to do, where we have here, I'm just extracting this file. So, and deleting this application actually. See, there is no var file actually. We have only extracted var file. Under this, we may have the following directory structure. So later we will able to discuss about this directory structure. And first you can able to know what do you have inside. Then now you can able to, I mean, is this directories are according to the prescribed directory structure or not? You can able to check about. So then after that, you can set the class path. Go to that, applications path. Sometimes developers they will send like this only, shopping cart. So that time what will happen? We need to be packed into the .var well. If it is a web application, we can pack into the .var. If it is enterprise application, you can pack into the .ear file. How you can able to pack generally? jar space hyphen cvf, c for create, v for verbose, f for file, shopping cart .var space shopping cart. So it is going to be creating into the var file. See, which is created shopping cart.var. If you just go to over there on the desktop, which is created shopping cart.var. So then after that, we can deploy applications into the Weblogic server. So this is how you are going to be assembling the or packing the applications into the Weblogic into the .var file if it is a web application. So this is called expanded directory structure format. Weblogic server will support both methods, but in production mode we always go with the .var file format only. Right? Shopping cart.var. Let's we see what are those two methods actually. So what is this is how you can able to packing the web application. Let's we see web application structure generally. Web application structure, so generally which is either it may be a .var file or either it may be a directory structure. So see here my web application, this is what document or root of the web applications, and meta-nf generally information for archive tools. These are all information for archive tools, and webnf generally await files that will be served to the clients. And classes generally these are the server side classes such as servlets and applets, and lib directory generally application which requires some libraries, so that should be packed into the .jar file which should be available under the lib directory. And web.xml is a deployment descriptor specific to the specific to the application web application, and weblogic.xml is a deployment descriptor specific to the WebLogic server. This is about directory structure of the web application. Sorry, web application directory structure. So in the interview, they will ask about the two things actually here. What is the deployment descriptor? Deployment descriptor. So there are two deployment descriptors. So in other words, DD. What is the deployment descriptor? Generally, let's we see it tells about two things. One is content of the Java archive. Content of the Java archive. Whatever it contains the Java archive, it has going to be tells. And second point, it tells order of deployment. Order of deployment. It tells about order of deployment. So these two things will tell about by the deployment descriptor. What is the default order? So all web applications which are going to be deploying based on this order only. Default order 100. While you are deploying, you can able to modify the deployment order and you can deploy. Based on that order only, it is going to be execute the web applications. Let's we see, this is about the deployment descriptor. There are two kinds of deployment descriptor which have. One is web.xml, another one is weblogic.xml file. So generally these two are the deployment descriptor file which is specific to the application. All the application configurations which is available under the web.xml file, all the WebLogic server configurations which are available under the weblogic.xml file. Let's we see what are the differences between those two. See, the web.xml file, it's a deployment descriptor specific to the application, which is used to configure the following configurations: servlets and JSP registration and welcome file list and security constraints and roles, resources, EJB references, all these configurations which we can able to configure specific to the web application only, right? Web.xml is a deployment descriptor specific to the application which contains the following configuration. And coming to the weblogic.xml file, it's a deployment descriptor specific to the WebLogic server and which contains the following configurations. All these configurations. So in the interview, they will ask about this question. So what is the difference between the web.xml and weblogic.xml? So that is the interview question again. Then after that, see WebLogic server, which is going to support the two modes of deployments actually, deployment modes. What is that actually? Expanded directory format, otherwise archive directory format. In the sense, you can able to deploy by using the .var file or without packing directly exploded directory format also. You can able to deploy. WebLogic server, it has going to be supports in both methods. So generally, what is the difference between the archive directory format and expanded directory format? It is another interview question actually. See, generally, one side you can keep, exploded directory format, other side you can keep archive format in bracket .var file. See, exploded directory format. So this kind of deployment which is suitable only in a development and a debugging phase. And coming to that other one in the sense, so archive or, .var file deployment which is suitable in production phase because that application which is distributing to the several machines or, number of machines. And in development mode generally, which is not packing, right? So generally applications will be updated frequently, whereas in archive format applications will not be you know updated frequently. And the third difference, in a expanded format you can deploy to the only single machine, that is administration server only. Other than admin server you cannot able to deploy. And even in the left side, in the sense, what is that side, archive format, deploying to the several machines, you can set a target to the cluster and you can deploy to the more than one machine. So that is the reason that mode of deployment we can able to use in the production mode. So this is about the differences between the archive and expanded directory format. So once we will complete this web application directory structure format, we are just moving into the other one called EJB applications. What is EJB applications and what are the types of EJBs, and so what are the EJB directory structure? As an administrator, what do we need to do? See, EJB applications generally, which are going to be, these are the components generally which we can able to define the following relationships actually. EJB and its container and the application server and the container and the client. All these relationships which is configured are defined by using the EJBs. These EJB applications which are going to be packed into the .jar file. Let's we see what are the EJB types which are available generally. Stateless session, stateful session, entity, message driven. So what is the session generally? See, which do maintain the state. Example, which do not maintain the state. Example, whenever you are speaking in the phone after completing your call, for that which do not maintain any state. So simply it is going to be calculating the billing of your phone call. For that which do not maintain any session. So for that is called stateless session. Stateful session means which we need to be maintaining the session for a client actually. Example, whenever you book a car or whenever you book a flight or whenever you are doing the online shopping. So for that which we need to be maintain the session. So that kind of EJBs we can call it as stateful session. Entity means generally it is going to represents the persisted data, in the sense we are not maintaining any session in the machine, we are going to be stored somewhere. That is what actually entity EJB type. Generally, what is that? Whenever assume like that, if you have some godown, in the godown you want to know about the items history or stocks history. So go to the system and you can know from that, in the sense we already entered in the system. You just go to over there and come to know about the stock. And coming to the message driven, generally message driven means above three are the synchronous, and last one is asynchronous. Synchronous means it should be a request and response type, and Asynchronous means, which is not active at the same time. And see all that information which is going to be stored under the logging messages. This we can able to use by using the JMS. That one you can able to get later actually. So these are EJB types, and about its description and as well as the example of those EJB types. I already told you EJB components which are going to be packed into the .jar files, and the EJBs are configured by modifying the deployment descriptors actually. If you just go to over there here, staging directory, just see class 1 and class 2. These are all the class files which is related to the applications, and this is what meta-nf. Under this you can able to see the all the XML file. All this which is packed into the .jar file, this is called EJB. What we can able to do as an administrator in the WebLogic server. So we need to be configure and deploy the EJB components and resolve these EJBs which are going to be resolving the naming conflict issues or infrastructure issues by configuring the JNDA and monitoring the EJB caches and connection ports. This is about the EJB administrator we can able to do these ones. And once we'll complete this one, other one called important other application called EJB application. It is nothing but what enterprise application. So what is an enterprise application generally? An enterprise application is nothing but it is a group of several resources. See, generally instead of deploying EJB applications separately and web applications separately, so what we can able to do in the enterprise application, we are grouping all the several resources into one deployable unit packed in an .er file. Nothing but instead of deploying var, zar and something like that resource adapters into the different, we are going to be grouping all the several resources into one deployable unit called .er. So er equal to var plus zar plus rar. You can call it as er. To come all you can able to group and you can able to deploy single deployable unit. Web applications, EJB applications, Java applications and resource adapters. All those you can able to these resources you can able to deploy group and make it as a one, and you can deploy into the WebLogic console or WebLogic infrastructure. So this is about that enterprise application. Let's we see. So why we are using the enterprise applications generally to avoid the naming spaces. The first one, naming clashes. Second one, deploy as a deploy as a single unit. In the sense, instead of deploying, you can deploy as a single unit. And you can configure the local JDBC and JMS resources. So these are the reasons to configuring the enterprise applications into the WebLogic server. Let's we see what is the ER file directory structure generally. This is what ER file directory structure. The root of the ER file application and meta-nf generally it's a directory. Application.xml file generally, deployment descriptor specific to the enterprise application, and WebLogic application.xml is a deployment descriptor specific to the WebLogic server configurations. And these two are the EJB modules, and these two are the Java libraries, and these two are the web applications. All we are going to be grouping into the one deployable unit called .er file, and we are deploying as a single ER file. This is about the ER file directory structure. Then once we will complete, see, we are going to be installing var er jar file. So generally what it contains inside var or inside rar or inside jar files generally, which contains the classes. If you just go to over there webnf, see classes and methods and all dot class files, and as well as the classes and methods only which contains. Installing the var or er file is nothing but what we are going to be installing the classes and as well as the classes we are loading into the WebLogic server memory. So what is the WebLogic server class loading? Very important interview question. So what is the WebLogic server class loading? Generally WebLogic server class loading is nothing but what finding out at runtime. It is going to be finding out all the classes and loaded into the WebLogic server memory, right? That is what class loader. Interview question, example important interview question. What is the WebLogic application class loader? So class loader generally it is going to be finding the runtime classes, all the classes at runtime and loading into the WebLogic server memory at runtime. So that is called WebLogic server class loader. Class loader is nothing but part of the Java virtual machine whenever you run the server, that is called one JVM. It is a part of the Java virtual machine that loads all classes into the WebLogic server memory, and it is responsible for finding and loading all the classes or class files runtime into the WebLogic server memory. That is called WebLogic server application class loader. So generally, what is the parent class loader generally? See, whenever you run the server, because you are installing the Java applications into the WebLogic server, in the sense it has going to be compiling and loading all the classes into the WebLogic server memory. In the sense, it has going to be loading successfully if it is loaded successfully. For that, which requires the Java compiler. So what is the parent class loader? Bootstrap class loader is the parent or root class loader for the Java. Whenever you run the server, first it is going to load the parent class loader called Bootstrap class loader. So generally, which loads all the classes and methods regarding the Java, and then after that it is going to load the all child classes, which is nothing but what dot var and dot jar files. If those classes are loaded into the WebLogic server properly and successfully, then only application state come into the active, then only end user can able to access that application. That is about the WebLogic server application class loader. Next we will go to here example. This is what WebLogic server class loader generally. See, go to over there. This is what each application, it may have its own parent as well as the child class loader. So this is what actually system class path, main class loader. This is what application A and application B. It loads classes regarding those applications into the WebLogic server memory at runtime. Who is responsible to load all the classes? WebLogic application class loader. This is about the class loading. Then after that, hello, any doubt? Hello, can I continue? Right.
Yes, sir.
Generally, what are the modes of the deployment? Important interview question. What are the modes of deployment? There are three modes of deployments which are available here: stage mode, no stage mode, and external stage mode. What is no stage or stage mode? What is no stage and what is external stage? Stage mode means generally we have right admin and manager server instance. Admin server, which are going to be copies all the deployment unit files, example var er file, into the pre-configured staging directory of targeted servers. Every server which we may have the one default directory called the staging directory, admin server which is going to be copies all the deployment source files into that staging directory of targeted servers. Next time onwards, it won't look for that application which is going to be gets from its own staging directory. That is about the stage mode deployment. The default mode is stage mode deployment only. Stage mode deployment means files are going to be copied right to pre-configured staging directory for of the targeted servers. All the deployment source files during the deployment, it is going to be copying first staging directory of the targeted server. Later it is going to be deploying the applications. That is what stage mode deployment. And let's we see when we will able to use the stage mode deployment. Generally, whenever we may have the requirement deploying the small or moderate sized applications. Otherwise, deploying to the less server instances, that time we will able to go with the no stage mode deployment. Let's we see no stage mode deployment. This is second mode of the deployment. Generally, what will happen in the no stage mode deployment? All the deployment source files which are going to be deployed from the static location, in the sense over the network, what will happen? So they are going to be creating one central repository. They are going to be keep all the applications under the repository. We are going to be deploying from that repository, including the admin and manager servers, which will go to that path and get the all applications from that path. That is called no stage mode deployment. So most of the cases in the production, we always go with the no stage mode deployment only. Files are going to be deployed from the static location, right? In the production mode, we always go with the no stage mode deployment only. When we will go with the no stage mode deployment? Whenever we are deploying the very large scale applications, or whenever we have the requirement to set a target for the multiple server instances or cluster. So generally deployment files are available on the shared directory. This is what no stage mode deployment. In the production, we always go with the no stage mode deployment only. Coming to that next one, external stage mode deployment. All the files which are going to be copied, by the Weblogic server administrator manually go to the staging directory of each manager server instance. We can copy all the deployment files. That copying process, either it may be manually or by using some third-party tools also, we can able to deploy. We can able to copy. And when we will go with the no stage mode external stage mode deployment, so whenever we may have the requirement, all the deployments where you want to manually control all the deployment process or all the deployment, files and as well as targeted servers, during that condition, we will go with the external stage mode. And very rare case, we will go with the external stage mode only. Right. This is about the modes of the deployments. Generally, what we can able to do in the deployment, what happen in the deployment actually. We are going to be creating the dependencies and copy the Java virtual or Java archive in the sense .var and .er or .jar file and creating the temporary files for running those applications which is required for the WebLogic. And generally we are going to be creating the JNDA objects to bind them the JNDA tree. So this only will do in the deployment. Let's we see what is the deployment process. Important interview question. What is the deployment process actually? See, whenever you want to deploying the applications, it is going to be involving into the following stages or tasks actually. Preparing, configuring, deploying, activate. Preparing means the moment you select the application, choose the application, whether it may be a packing application or archived file. So generally it is going to be, you know, keeping in an explorer format. Once it is completed and moving into the second stage called configuring. In this configuring, it is going to be creating the deployment plan to maintain about the all configurations about the application without changing any deployment descriptor. What is the deployment plan? You will able to get next actually. So after configuring that actual deployment, generally it is going to be targeting and distributing those applications to the staging directory of targeted servers. And after distributing those applications, if the all three phases was successful, then last stage it has going to be deploying. Actually, it has going to be involves the deployment process, and all the clauses are loaded into the WebLogic server memory. So when it happens, all three methods were successful. So then only the application state active. Whenever the application state come into the active, then only the application was deployed successfully, and that application which is accessed by the client or end user. This is about the deployment process. Clear? So once we will complete this deployment process, let's we see what are the deployment methods which we have to deploy the applications into the WebLogic server. Just go to over there. So deployment methods actually very very important. How many methods did you deploy actually? Using the auto deploy. Second one using WebLogic admin console. And third one using WebLogic dot deployer utility. Fourth one using ant tool. Fifth one using WLXT. Sixth one using Maven tool. This feature was introduced after 11G onwards, before which does not have. So these are the methods which you have to deploying applications into the WebLogic server. Let's we see one by one. First, how you are going to be deploying using the auto deploy. So let's we see first. I have some sample applications here to deploy and test those applications into the WebLogic server. So what are those sample applications? Let's we see here. See where is the D files. Under this, I have a total 6 sample applications here we have. So what I need to do here, so what is the auto deployment and when we will go with the auto deployment. This auto deployment feature which is enabled only in development mode. Whenever you create the domain development mode, so that time only this feature is enabled. So in production mode, whenever the domain is running in the production mode, so which is not enabled, which is disabled, right? So we have the auto deploy directory under the domain home. So we just place the applications under the auto deploy automatically, which are going to be deployed and sets the target and deploys into the WebLogic admin console. And go to the WebLogic admin console and test that application. See here under this path you can able to copy that application. And generally these kind of deployment which is not preferred by the WebLogic server administrator, these kind of deployments application developers prefers generally. Why? Developers are going to be quickly, they can design and develop and test or do the experiment with an application quickly by using this auto deployment feature. In the sense, the moment they place the application under that, it is going to be automatically deploys into the WebLogic server. Let's we see how we can able to do the deployment actually. See, auto deployment generally what will happen. So let's we see we can able to do the deployment first. So I'm just d files /home/linux Oracle. I'm just starting the servers. Right. So next I need to do start the managing servers. See up to here we can call it as domain home. Under this you may have the auto deploy directory. So what I need to do, I need to be copy the application. So how we can able to deploy? Go to the following path, home Linux desktop. So cd space d files. Under this directory I have the deployments actually. Right? So go to here, I need to be access the admin console. Alright. Go to here. Under this I have my all the application sample applications cp space shopping cart.where. I'm just copying slash auto deploy. So under that directory I need to be copy the application. In the sense application is going to be deployed successfully if you copy the place the application under that auto deploy directory. Just go to over there. See application which is copied successfully. Identity any target. You just go to over there admin console. Click on the deployments. See here application which deployed shopping cart that were auto deployed. So click on this application, and click on testing. See this is what URL d4l. Go to here for testing that application whether it is see deployed successfully. Click on browse. Understood clearly? Hello? Hello? See, I didn't select any target automatically, which is going to be select the target admin server. And the moment I place the application, automatically which is going to be deployed into the WebLogic admin console. We just go to that WebLogic admin console, click on that application, and click on testing, and click on testing and click on that application. You can able to test the application whether it is deployed successfully or not. You can able to deploy like this. So in this way, you can able to deploy by using the auto deploy feature. So generally, there was two features which is available here: fast swap and on-demand deployment. See, a fast swap feature which is enabled only in a development mode because WebLogic automatically reloads the modified Java class files within the applications. In the sense, without redeploying, automatically it is going to be reloads modified Java classes by using this fast swap on demand deployment. So which we can able to add into the weblogic.admin console this feature, right? To WebLogic automatically reloads the modified Java classes within the Java application. For that reason, which we can able to use that feature. This feature is which is enabled only in a development mode. If domain is running in the production mode, it is not available. And what is that is about that production deployment, the fast swap deployment. Let's we see how you can able to undeploy. This one I have seen deployment. Undeploy means you just go to the auto deploy directory, take the backup of that application and remove that application. That is nothing but undeploying. See, once you deploy the application, you can able to do the following operations actually. What are those? You can start and stop. What is a start and what is a stop? See, whenever the application is coming into the active means it is started actually. Stop means you can stop when the work is completed. If you're already accessing by somebody, if work is complete, it is going to be stops. Forcefully stop now. Immediately it is going to be stops. And stop, but continue servicing the administration request. Only access the administration request only. And whenever you stop the application and click on start and servicing all the requests and servicing only the administration request. I'm just stopping this one, possibly stop now. See the changes active to prepared stage and select the application again. I mean you cannot access the application now. See generally what I can able to do, go to here and start again. Application state which is which is changed prepared to active state. Go to here and click on refresh button. Again you can able to access the application. This is about the start and stop operations. So for undeploying, what I need to do, go to the auto deploy directory, take the backup of that application and remove that application. See, it's removed successfully. Clear, right? In this sense, if you just go to over there and click on refresh button, there was no application, which is deleted from the WebLogic admin console. This is about first method of application deployment, auto deploy. And what are the limitations or drawbacks of the auto deployment? Generally, you cannot deploy the other than admin server. You can deploy to the only one machine or one server instance called admin server only. And second one, you cannot deploy the libraries directly, and you cannot change the application name. These are all the drawbacks about the auto deploy directory. And let's we see the what second method, using the administration console. See, this is a GUI mode of deployment. Generally one application after another application you can deploy. And web-based deployment assistant, generally you can able to do the one application after another application, and you can able to control all the deployed applications from the administration console. You can monitor and you can monitor about the deployment status, so about the whether the deployment is deployed successful or not, whether it is running or not. Everything you can able to do from basic deployment function to and advanced deployment you can able to do in the administration console. Let's we see what are the steps actually to deploy the applications using the admin console. Start the admin server, log into the admin console and click on the lock and edit button and click on the deployments, click on browse and see current location and find the current location of the application and browse the applications. Click on next, click on next, and select the target servers and select the option called copy this application onto every target for me, and click on finish and click on active changes and go to the deployments and check the application state. If it is active means your deployment was successful. If it is not active means deployment was failed. Let's we see that process. See, by default, whenever you are deploying the applications using the admin console, so default mode is stage mode deployment. I already started the servers. See, you are unable to access here this application. Go to here, click on the deployments, click on install, upload your files, click on browse, desktop and D files. I'm selecting the application. Click on next, click on next, click on next, select the target and click on next. Select the option copy this application onto every target for me and click on finish button. I told you what is the default mode and as well as what is the deployment descriptor, default deployment descriptor. By default deployment descriptor 100 actually. The moment you click on this application, it is going to be shows about that deployment descriptor. See here default deployment order 100 and see, so default mode is stage mode. This is about that deploying the application, one application. Repeat the same process for deploying this remaining applications also. Select the target, click on next, copy this application onto every target for me, click on finish button. Next, similarly, upload your files, browse, shopping cart. I'm selecting the target as a cluster, selecting this option and click on finish button. So install, upload your files, browse, HDS, open, click on next, click on next, click on next, copy this application onto every target for me, click on finish button. Right. So click on the deployments generally. See all the applications which are coming to the active. Click on any one of the application for testing. Click on testing and see the application is accessing 810 cluster 820 which is redirecting, right? Understood? If the 810 is not running, generally all the requests which are going to be redirecting to the 820. If 810 is running, generally it will redirecting to the 820. Understood? Hello? Right. So in this way you can able to deploy the applications and test the applications. Click on here deployments. Install is nothing but deploy, update is nothing but redeploy, delete is nothing but undeploy, and start and stop we have seen already. See, you can select that one application and you can deploy. You cannot deploy all applications at the same time. Deploy is nothing but you are updating the application, in the sense redeploying. All applications come into the active, then only the application can able to access. What I need to do, I'm just stopping. See, messaging is prepared and remaining are active generally. If you just go to over there, I cannot able to access that application because I stopped. You cannot able to access. And see, if you take this some example, sometimes you may get the messages actually from banks. If you have the any bank account actually to you people from the bank, you will get some messages like this actually. Today, maintenance server maintenance is going over there in between 12 to 9 o'clock or something like that. You cannot able to access or you cannot able to do any transaction. please support with us. Like that you will able to get, right? In the sense they are updating the applications. That time they are going to be keep in the admin state. All the applications they are going to be keep in the admin state who are having the admin. So then only they can able to access, and rest of the people they cannot able to access. So this is about that, how you are going to be accessing, moving into the application into the admin state. In the sense, only maintenance purpose. I'm selecting all the applications again. I'm starting all the services. In the sense, all applications which are coming into the active. Go to here and click on refresh button. You can able to access. Understood? Right. In this way, you can able to deploy, and undeploy is nothing but before undeploying, you just go to here. I told you admin server which is going to be copying into all the staging directory of targeted servers. Go to the HMNG1. Under that you may have the staging directory. Go to the stage. See all the applications which are copied, right? HMNG1. Go to that HMNG2 and stage. Under this also all applications which are copied. Clear, right? This is called stage mode deployment. So whenever you undeploy the applications from the admin console, automatically which is going to be deleted from this location also. Go to over there, admin console, select all applications and stop those applications and select those applications and click on delete button. In the sense, you are going to be undeploying the applications from the administration console. See which are undeployed. Go to here, click on there was no applications which are available here. This is about the second mode of deployment. Did you notice or not? By using these two methods, or by using the admin console, you cannot able to deploy the more than one application at the same time. Only one application we can deploy at the same time. But in real time, what will happen? We may have the requirement to deploy the applications more than one application at the same time. In the sense, 200, 300 applications we may deploy at the same time, right? For that, for that, just hang on 1 second. Hmm. 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 Hello. See, the deployment is going on over there. I'm getting some calls from the office. All right. So we have completed two methods, right? In the sense admin console and using the auto deploy. And the third method using the weblogic.admin utility and tool and using the WLST and using the Maven tool. All these are the methods actually which we can able to use how to deploy more than one application. In the sense, to automate the deployment tasks. See, if we have the 200 applications, we cannot able to deploy like this. one application after another application. If you just go to over there, click on install, like that you cannot able to deploy. We need to prepare the scripts, deployment and deployment scripts. We need to be prepared. 200, 300, how many applications do we have in our environment? Doesn't matter. We need to be deploy all applications at the same time. Understood? In the sense, we need to be prepare the auto deploy. In the sense, all the deployment tasks we need to be prepare it. Let's we see what is the WebLogic that admin deploy utility and ANT tool and WLST and Maven tool. These are all four tools which we can able to discuss tomorrow. And what I need to do after completing this class, I will send all the all these scripts, Maven, WLST, ANT and WL, all these scripts. Tomorrow I will discuss all those, but I will send all the scripts including the sample applications. You can start working on it. Okay? Hello? You can start working on it deployment, and anyhow today after completing my activities I will upload the recordings also, because these are important. You have to be practice it. If you'll get any doubts, we'll discuss. Okay? Hello? Right. All right. So sorry for that. Today I have some work actually. That is the reason I'm just I'm in office call actually. Okay? Alright, so I will upload all the documents including the scripts and you can practice it. Maybe after 2 hours I will upload, okay? Right. Thank you. We'll meet tomorrow at same time. Bye.